and he wanted to do an auto exit from Canada, and pretty much just.
What?
Did you not know about this?
I'm a bad Canadian, apparently. What Howdy,
Okay.
howdy.
Howdy.
So, before we get too far into any sort of conversation, do you want to have like any camera on or stick with
No,
just
I'm at
voice?
my computer, so I don't have a camera.
That's
So it's
totally
just going
fine.
to sadly be my voice.
That's totally fine. Do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Hi. So I go by the name of Freyja. I am in Briley's Discord, and I am also a member of a political action group called Progressive Victory, which, if you watch Vosh, you've probably heard quite a bit about.
Yep, Burrs. He's been doing a lot of work with that. So, I don't really know if I have too much of a itinerary, but I'm also just trying to set up your reactive. There. There. Now it'll be a lot easier for people to tell when you're talking.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. So basically, what do you do with Progressive Victory that you're like kind of able to talk about? Because obviously you're not representing the entire group like as like some kind of scheduled event. It's just kind of a spur of the moment conversation with us.
Yeah. So primarily what I do at Progressive Victory is I am in my state's leadership group, and I help to organize and primarily research political campaigns, propositions, and then I will go in and primarily educate my state's membership to how to vote on a certain subject, or not telling them to, but like, here's what you need to know about each thing. uh like, recently we just had a metropolitan citywide multiple props, which were for education bonds. And what I did is I went through, read all the very detailed law, and kind of broke down all our members' things. It's like, hey, listen, over here, you might not like this bond because it does increase police budgeting, or you might not like this bond because it drops you know infrastructure spending in favor of education in a richer area. It's kind of breaking everything down. So, because the books that the city and the state gives us are not the most detailed, so I kind of help educate people primarily in my state on these subjects.
Okay, and you're reaching out to just anybody on the street kind of thing, or are you going to organizations, to schools?
So I primarily reach out to campaigns as well. Um, So recently, in one of our districts, this was a couple months ago, we actually had one of the people running for office, congressional office, on in a private chat. We talked with them about, what they wanted from us and what we could do for them, and we also wanted to see, you know, is there viability of your campaign for us to is putting our efforts into it going to really help you, or are you running a very niche campaign that's honestly not going to go anywhere because you just can't get the support and, somewhat some money for like ads and signage and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, you do gotta be, pick your battles kind of thing, because while
Mhm.
there are definitely a lot of very niche stuff that I would personally want, it's just kind of hard to, you know, really advocate for it and get the masses behind you kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is with this person's campaign is it was literally him and his family and a couple friends. And it's like, listen, I love everything you're doing, but you don't have, name recognition yet. And, you might have all the best policies in the world. And even though literally every other, let me phrase that, even though your campaign website is absolute garbage, it was still the best campaign website compared to everyone else running in the race. And those people are very influential and very well respected members of the Democratic Party in our city, which tells you a lot. But
Kind of,
um,
yeah.
it was pretty much like, give us money. We're not going to tell you what we want to do, kind of campaign ads, or not campaign ads, but campaign websites. Because when you go to a page and you get bombarded with 15, donation, links and nothing else, it doesn't really make you want to support that person.
Yeah, like that's kind of what I mostly see on like right wing or Republican, because we're talking specifically right now about US politics, even though
Yeah.
I am Canadian.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of it's a lot of, well, to put it a different way, it's virtue signaling. It's just not going into detail with what they actually want to do, and that's just, it feels so
Yeah.
fake. And that's coming from a
It's
VTuber.
yeah. And like, one of the people running where this one campaign we were talking to, one of the people running in the campaign is they claim that they want to be the AOC of our state, which is, good and all, but what are you going to do? So,
Yeah. Part of me, there's a part of me that really wants to, you know, kind of get more VTuber fans to be politically activated, but that's a very, very hard question to answer given, you know, the broader disposition of people not liking talking about any sort of politics at all. I was just wondering if you happen to
yeah,
have any thoughts about, or maybe different strategies for reaching out to people that might not necessarily want to directly get involved.
I mean, I, I, I maybe not in the 2024 cycle, but probably in the 28 cycle. If VTubers continue to grow at the rate that they are, I wouldn't be surprised if Ted Cruz gets a VTuber model.
Oh, that would be funny. Because,
It's
like,
it
even
because
corporations are getting into that. The biggest one right now, I believe, is Opera GX. I know Tony the
mhm.
Tiger from Frosted Flakes was. Somebody just heard the Ted Cruz VTuber part. I know Tony the Tiger had a VTuber, though they had like one stream. That would have actually been pretty interesting to see, honestly.
And also, doesn't Crunchyroll have a VTuber avatar as well?
I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't be surprised though.
Yeah, yeah. And oddly enough, Ted Cruz, for as much as I hate the man, he is, because I think he was one of the first big senators to have a like a podcast, one of the first big senators to do live streams, all that kind of stuff. So I could definitely see him getting a VTuber model to try to get the weeb crowd to come out and vote for him.
Yeah, I mean, look at when AOC and Jagmeet Singh played Among Us with some live streamers. That got pretty big views.
Exactly. It, I have a feeling that there is a fairly large disconnect between um I would say, like, Gen Z kind of entertainment, like streamers and VTubers, and the political class, mainly because even the I mean the Maxwell Frost, the one Gen Z in the house doesn't seem. He seems more like, I would say, myself as a millennial than I would say compared to like some of the other Gen Z people I've met, and like what he kind of enjoys and everything like that. He seems more of a going outside, touching grass kind of person.
There's actually been, I saw a TikTok, I think it was, or somebody complaining about a TikTok that was, it was basically somebody just talking about like leftist and progressive ideas, but using like an uwu anime voice, and that was it. And it got like hugely popular on TikTok. So I think these atypical ways of appealing to people will actually more broadly appeal to, you know, Zoomers.
Definitely, I definitely think the one anime series that I think could actually really help in driving interaction into politics, especially more for social politics. It would be like if the creator of One Piece came out and started supporting more openly their views. I'm forgetting the author's name.
Huh. I seem to be having issues with the internet. Weird.
Yeah, I'm watching the stream as well on my end. I thought it was on me.
No, like my kilobits per second dropped down like super duper low. It looks like it's picking back up. Okay.
Those might be my CIA
Oh yeah, it's probably that.
contacts. Those might be my CIA contacts.
Odds are it's probably that.
No,
There, it looked. Oh, it's dropping back down. Oh no, it's the CIA. They're still going. Wait, can they act in Canada? Don't we have like our own Secret Service thing? We do. I just always forget the name. They're that good.
yeah, but yeah,
But it looks like the recording on my end has actually been good quality, so that's good.
good.
But I'm not sure where else I was going to go. I actually got completely derailed.
We were talking about the TikTok uwu voice, and
Oh
I
yeah,
kind
and
of
how
mentioned
that's
how
appealing
One
to
Piece
the
is
newer generations.
that would be a good way to appeal.
Yeah, and apparently even One Piece is pretty leftist, I would say. I haven't actually watched it, it just sounds like it.
I wouldn't. I'm not a big One Piece fan. It's more like I've watched bits and pieces. It's definitely, probably, in my opinion, one of the most left wing popular series in media right now as a whole. Because pretty much a large group, like a lot of different characters, are different sexualities and or genders and stuff like that, and you just don't see that in most other media.
Yeah, like unfortunately it's just not extremely common. There's cases where it's like representation, or there's arguments on Twitter about representation of why do you got to change his character's race? Why can't you just make a brand new character? And then they make a brand new character and it's completely boring, and they, or boring to them anyways. Even they just don't stop complaining about any sort of representation for minorities.
Yeah, that's why I think One Piece does it right. Is that they just they're also not just there as like, oh, this person's trans, therefore we have trans identity. It's more this character is trans and they are one of the biggest, most important characters in the series. Get used to it.
Okay, maybe I should actually sit down and watch One Piece. Like, I keep saying that, but then I don't.
Yeah,
Mostly because it's so goddamn long. I have very little time. If I do get laid off, oh, I am watching One Piece. Internet
I
really?
had a
Oh, okay, never mind.
yeah. Okay. I
I
had a
thought you were cutting
friend
out. I'm sorry.
who oh, you're good. No, I had a friend who was into One Piece pretty hardcore, watched it since the beginning, on 4Kids. But he ended up telling me sometimes it might just be better just to watch arcs instead of watching from start to finish, because not because of like the filler issue that's more common in those type of anime series, but more because there are some arcs that are just horrible, and then some of them are just fantastic arcs. Or yeah, none of your business just said read One Piece. That's actually probably a better way to do it.
But I want to watch. I'm just not as big a fan of like reading through the manga and stuff. I like to have, a little more focus on it, have it actually do less brain thinky. I do a lot of using my brain, so it's nice to use less of it
Like,
when I'm
okay.
relaxing.
Yeah, that's completely fair. But yeah, it takes a while. I definitely think, like how my one friend said, back in college, like you need to just watch it in arcs and not watch it in like a giant start to finish, just because it's just so much content.
Yeah, like Tibbs is saying I advise watching Star Wars The Clone Wars and Andor. I've actually watched both of those. I've been keeping up with Star Wars for a while, so it's just hard for me to jump into like One Piece as a new ongoing thing. Or did it end? I don't remember. But
No,
it's like a
no,
massive massive thing to get into as well, and with Star Wars I've already been ingrained with it for a long time, so it's a lot easier to keep up with that for me. That's my
which is
excuse
completely
anyways.
fair. I mean, yeah, I'm not much of a watching media kind of person. I'm more of a like a listener, and just kind of listening to stories over watching them.
Yeah, like
So Star Wars is primarily audiobooks for me.
I honestly really get that because a lot of the creators I like to watch are what's it, essentially podcasters. They do the same kind of content like I do, like Vosh does, and and when I can listen to the podcast versions of them, I do tend to listen to those people a lot more because, I'm commuting on the bus, the SkyTrain, I take the vehicle of the proletariat, and it's nice to have a podcast to listen to. It's just hard for me to get into a whole lot of them. I wish there were more that had, or literally that were VTubers. Mostly because I like to watch some of the videos, but I also like to be able to listen to them. And it's nice to have a picture in mind of who's doing the speaking.
That I think that's pretty fair. I used to do that a lot when at my last job, like they would have me drive like across the state to go do something, and I would just like put on like a VTuber that I liked, like one of their streams, and I would just listen, but I would kind of be able to visualize them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I operate. Skytrain, what's that? Do you know a subway? It's like a subway, but it's up in the air and it's like a suspended bridge above everything.
It's a monorail.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a
monorail.
monorail.
Except, well, ours is a bi-rail because it goes both ways. Heh.
Okay. But yeah, it's I definitely think the VTuber scene is still very young, but it's also becoming over bloated very quickly.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
reaching
kind of,
mainstream.
yeah. but it's also like for me, like I'm seeing it, and it's like I remember, like some of these corporations are coming out and they're just scams, and it's just like I like it's just very interesting to me that we never saw that for like normal streamers, but we saw it with YouTubers, with like Machinima, and now we're seeing it with Vtuber corporations. And I just very curious to see what the future of the Vtuber scene is going to be, if it's going to devolve into like, you know, you have your Asian corporations like Hololive and Nishizanji, and then you'll have like maybe VShojo in the West if that continues to stay strong.
I think VShojo is actually going pretty goddamn strong. They've picked up some pretty big talents these days.
That is true, but I don't think it's going to be on the talents end. It's kind of like the whole thing with Machinima, where it's not the talent, it's the people behind the scenes that are going to drop the ball.
That's just kind of typically how it goes when companies turn belly up, isn't it? I mean, look at Akio Air. It was literally the CEO that was messing things up behind the scene. All the talents were putting in their biggest efforts.
Exactly. It's just one of those things where it's always the behind the scenes people that will destroy these things. And the reason why I don't think you'll see this with like Hololive or Nichisanji is I just think that whole there's a lot more a level of seriousness with those corporations compared to a lot of the ones you see here in the West, which remind me a lot of the YouTube what were they called? Not partners, but like I can't remember the term, but
I don't remember the
it's like
specific
these
term either, but I do remember that, like, sort of trying to boost or trying to inspire new creators, but really just taking advantage of them. It seems like it's a common human trait with every new thing.
It was kind of like, hey, we're going to boost you by getting you in contact with, yeah. Let's see here, trying to find what it was called, but no, like I have a feeling that that's going to happen to a lot more of these corporations as time goes on. MCN is a multi-channel network,
Right.
but
That was the term.
yeah, but you can kind of like look at it from that perspective of how MCNs kind of came in. Yeah, they would pick up these great creators, like for example Machinima. I'm pretty sure had Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and a couple other really really big YouTube channels. And you can kind of look at that like, okay, we have this amazing talent, let's milk them for everything they have, and then you'll eventually see the collapse of these groups. And that's just something I think is, I don't know, Western capitalism just destined to do to itself.
Yeah, I mean, eventually that's the way it goes with capitalism, ain't it? It ends up eating itself.
It is eating itself and milking its talent and making them not want to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah. The double-edged sword of growing famous.
True. And but yeah, VTubers are not something I'm as big into as I used to be, just because of it just started getting very samey across the board with whoever I watched, and I was just kind of getting a little bored with it, just because it'd be like, I'm going to go watch this person. They're doing the same game. I'm going to watch that person. Oh, it's the same thing. And then I found you, and it's mainly because you talk about drama and politics and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, this is something different. like this because it is something different. I'm sick of seeing, you know, what is it? Among Us for the 12th billionth time.
Honestly, that's kind of what inspired my current content route. It's like I don't care about watching gaming streams as much, just as a personal preference. It's not as entertaining to me. Maybe if it's like a niche game that I particularly enjoy, or like, let's say I want to watch somebody's first time reaction to the end of Heaven's Ward Final Fantasy expansion. I'm not going into that copy pasta, but you know.
Yeah,
And like,
I can definitely see why that'd be enjoyable.
yeah, like it's specific things, but I'm personally just not interested in watching somebody play Valorant or whatever, mostly because I don't even play Valorant. I can see the appeal if you're personally into that game, but for the most part, I don't really find much value in watching others play games in general. I find a lot more value in listening to commentary, whether it's about VTubers or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely true because I feel the same way towards streamers, and that's why like I prefer watching like Vosh, for example, or a couple others because they are commentary. There's the occasional gameplay, and that's perfectly fine. And typically, when they are doing gameplay, they're also playing the game and making decent commentary. While when I watch like VTubers playing Valorant, for example, it's just them bitching about their teammates, and I don't. That gets boring and samey after the first 5 times you watch it.
Yeah, I actually, I will say that I do sometimes tune into like Bosch's gaming streams when he's got the TTS on, because it gets really funny watching him argue with chat.
I mean, isn't that every stream of his though? Him
Yeah, that's
arguing
true.
with chat. Um, No, in my opinion, it's more just watching the TTS annoy Vosh with like the typical copy pasta jokes.
Yeah,
But
like having
um,
that other voice in there to like vaguely argue with him, it's pretty entertaining.
yeah, I mean, probably the one VTuber for gaming I still primarily watch and just listen and enjoy is Chibi Doki, just because she is one funny and two has a fairly different variety of different games that she does play. It doesn't just seem to be the same 5-6 games, every single stream. But
There are people that do enjoy the variety like you do as well, but there are others that like genuinely enjoy somebody that keeps to a specific game.
oh yeah, and that's
And that,
absolutely within their right. And
oh
I'm not
yeah.
going to tell VTubers, hey, you need to do X. No, that's not my right. I'm not, I'm not the VTuber god. I'm just some random, person. But it's definitely I would prefer to see some more variety streamers. Like there were a couple people in Nishijanji back in like 2018. No, was it 2019 or 2020? Uh, where they were doing variety different stuff that I actually really enjoyed, and they were actually one of the Indonesian members. And I don't speak Indonesian, but I was sitting there enjoying the content because it was a little bit of variety. They would have uh they would have like some educational stuff about the history of Indonesia, and then they would have like a history of Indonesia stream, and then they would have like you know them playing some games, and they had just good commentary. But I think I don't know if they're still around or if they because I don't see them on my timeline anymore. But they were actually a very good streamer.
Sometimes you never really know because you never know if it's like a hiatus or a graduation. I
Yeah,
still find graduation just a weird term, but it's part of idol culture, and whether we like it or not, VTubers did start off as corporate idols.
That is absolutely true. And it's part of the culture. I mean, there's a lot of weird culture just in general around different media. And if, I think it's perfectly fine. It's just, I think some people will like freak out over it a little too hard sometimes. And it kind of weirds me out a little bit. But, um, like, I would say the whole drama with, oh, the mouse. What? Not the mouse. Like the Pikachu girl. I'm forgetting her name. Pikami, I think it
Oh.
was.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get canceled. You mean
Uh.
Chris Chan? Not Pikami?
Oh God. What? I might not even know what this is. I'm not that in depth like I used to be. But I know what you mean. I know who Chris Chan is, but
Pikami is a past life of a corporate VTuber. They currently go by Henya.
yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of that. What I'm saying is kind of like when she graduated, like how the internet like devolved into pure anarchy.
Oh yeah.
Um,
People
that,
are still mad about it today.
uh, yeah, exactly. And I just kind of sat there and I'm like, I I get why people are angry, but it's like, people are making accusations and it's like you don't know what she, had planned, And it's like in my opinion, I kind of had the same feeling because I started noticing more like Pikami interacting more with the Vsojo people and one of my little group chats I have from when I was back in my VTuber watching days, they were like, "Oh, what about Pikami?" And they were all freaking out. And I said, I have a feeling that she might just be going independent or joining someone else just because she's been interacting a lot more with other people recently. And I just have that feeling that she wants to break away from the current corporate structure of her current group. And I ended up being right, but
Yeah. Apparently VShojo just has better contracts than the other agencies. Like, that's why Kason stays with them, because they got the best offer right now. If somebody gave her a better offer than VShojo, she openly said that she would take it.
oh yeah, and I think most people would because I think it is very easy to just um, you want to go for that money. Completely understand that, but yeah, I don't. I really think the case on is like a perfect example if of like what someone in the industry should do. They were originally in Hall Live, now they're in V Shoujo, but you know,
Yeah, VShojo's collecting like a lot of graduated talent from other agencies.
I mean, honestly, why not? It's a honestly a smart idea just to get some of these really good talent and just hey, we'll bring you over. We'll I don't know if they get a model or I'm not so sure about uh
To
you
my
know
understanding,
I
like Henya, Kuro, and Matara have unique OCs for when they did join VShojo, but I believe they own that design, and if they left VShojo, they would keep it.
yeah,
That's just kind of how
because
VShojo has been branding and operating. So I
yeah
would
they're
assume it would just carry forward.
yeah it, being a multi kind of like a multi-channel network once again, you kind of keep your character, you create your OC however and run with them. But I'm trying to find this person I used to watch from Nishi Shanji and I cannot find them. Oh wait, did she just pop up on my feed? Okay, she actually did. Now she's gone. But I think that's the biggest thing with VTuber culture is we're still in its infancy. It's really overbloated, just like streaming in general is. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of internet content at this point is very bloated, and there's so many choices and options that I don't think there's, in my opinion, not a lot of ability to grow unless you have a very specific niche to you, or if you're funny, just this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background with corporations.
True.
I personally don't get the people that will ardently defend the companies themselves, and it's like, well, I've covered some pretty bad stuff from like the bigger corpos. Actually, I don't think
Yeah.
I've done anything particularly negative about Hololive, but I'm publicly not a fan of Niji Sanji or well, Vshoujo's not that bad, but they did have their own big controversy.
True. Well, I think the big thing with Hololive is that they are trying their best to keep their nose out of out of certain types of content. They want to try to keep it as, I guess, they kind of want their, what's the term I'm trying to think of? I guess they're trying to be the most corporate while also being the least corporate. Um, keep everything in house, but also don't have their VTubers like going around and what's a good term?
Stirring controversy?
Yeah, stirring controversy. Yeah, they try to keep everyone as vanilla as physically possible.
Well, they try to, but they're still steeped in it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be any, entertainment corporation or company in general, is they're going to have these things. And I think
Any public figure that gets big enough gets haters.
Exactly. It's, I just think they want to try to keep their nose as clean as physically possible and try to cut things off when they can. I definitely think that was with Rushia when that whole controversy happened. Is they just, I had a feeling when it all started, it's like they're just going to cut her. They're just going to cut her out and just get rid of her, because
that was the overly parasocial, the girlfriend experience VTuber, right?
Correct. And now she is in Vshoujo as well.
Wait, she's in Vshoujo? I thought she went indie.
Isn't
she
I think she went to
Mikaneko?
Is she Mikaneko? I thought she also went to Vshoujo. Because
take a look. Mikaneko is affiliated with Voice or VTuber agency.
Okay.
Okay.
I just remember someone mentioning that she went to Vshoujo like afterwards.
I know that Vshoujo has a lot of ex-agency talents. Like, just to name 4, Keisan, Henya, Matara, and Kuro.
Yeah.
Wait, what was Vshoujo's controversy with Vey? From what I understood, Silvervale, Bebe, and Nyanners had left Vshoujo, and then right after Vey had left, Bebe dropped the R slur, and then got cancelled on Twitter for it. And that built up her success. Biggest controversy I know of from V Shoujo was the Nux Taku drama.
Yeah. I don't know too much about that drama. I've personally kind of stayed away from Nux Taku just because he just seems like one of those people that just brews drama naturally from his existence.
Yeah,
But
kinda.
I will be honest though, I do watch his like not his drama stuff. I do watch his like media commentary stuff because he actually does have some pretty I do like some of his media content.
I
But
actually kind of like his like Rule 34 tournaments and stuff. That was pretty funny.
those are funny. Also, I've come across a lot of, VTubers who I actually really like from his streams, like Meowmoonified and stuff like that. Like, if it wasn't for those tournaments, I wouldn't have found her. Also, he's in Some Ordinary Podcast, which I watch almost every single episode. So
I should
that's
actually check out that podcast.
if you like the people on it, then yes.
Well, I definitely like Mudahar. He's funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they actually get some pretty good people on there. It's pretty good. Um, I definitely would say it's one of the better podcasts out there, just because I think Mudahar is so down to earth compared to like almost every other big YouTube creator on the platform. Um,
Yeah, he's really got that vibe. I like his
yeah.
stuff. I watch a fair bit of his videos these days.
Oh yeah. I mean, shoot, he's even been on Vosh's stream, which
Yeah,
I
he has.
never would have imagined. Like when I saw that, when I saw like a video, like a Mudahar video, oh, it's Mudahar video, and then the Vosh intro started. I'm like, what? Did I click the wrong video? And then I saw Mudahar joins. So I'm like, you what? I was shocked by that, but yeah, no, he's you know,
I don't know his political leaning either.
I I would say since he's Canadian, I would probably say he's probably like maybe center left Canadian, but like he's probably fairly liberal, but he's also very socially progressive just because he does talk a lot about certain things in certain workplaces and stuff like that.
More pirate aligned? Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say he's probably a little bit to the left of like of oh shoot, what is that podcast that's currently in drama? I am so um Hassan is in drama with him right now. What is that stupid podcast?
H3H3?
H3H3. Like I say a little bit more to the left of H3H3. Not super not I wouldn't put them in they're probably like progressive, but they're also like still very liberal people. So that's where I would put Mudahar at least, but he's not going to come out and say anything. I think he even was out there for let me double check that before I state that. I have to check. I can't remember if it was was he there for the JREG political campaign party?
Um, was that the one where the lefty streamers were going to go to the White House?
No, it was so JREG ran for mayor of Ottawa, and he wanted to do an auto exit from Canada, and pretty much just
What?
Did you not know about this?
I'm a bad Canadian, apparently. What the fuck?
No, I would absolutely like it. He spoke Franglish
Oh God.
on national TV. Um, but I know a couple major Canadian YouTubers went out there. I'm trying to see here. I don't think he did. But no, I would highly recommend you watch that arc because that's what really got me more into Canadian politics, like learning how like the more the provincial system worked. But it was a great arc.
Yeah, if somebody can link me a video, I would love to go over that.
Oh, I will. Okay, so there is. Let's see here. So there's the campaign begins. I'm running for mayor of Canada's capital. My first mayoral debate, secured the gay vote. Uh, conference with my top advisor, clarifying my border policy. I killed the queen. That was part of that arc because the queen died during that time. They have one of his rallies. Second debate, 3 minutes of uninterrupted Franglish on national TV, and I think it's in Quebec. You know, there's quite a bit. So I'll drop you the 3 minute debate that because that's my favorite one. But
God, if there was like a video going over all of this shit, I might actually react to it on stream.
yeah, it's the best way I would summarize it is JREG really used his platform to make fun of the Canadian election system and just how just truly comical everything is.
We're not a real country.
You're just America. You're just North America. That or no, you're North United States. That's just, but no, it is a very funny little arc of his. But I don't think Mudahar. I'm looking at one of the videos, and I don't think Mudahar showed up. But yeah. JJ. Okay, it looks like the only one that showed up who's big is JJ McCullough. But I know JJ and JREG are actually pretty good friends.
Yeah, this is all news to me. Also, somebody is asking if your profile picture is the anarcho ace symbol or just ace. Not trying to be rude, they're just curious.
Yeah, it's Anarcho Ace.
Then why is it inside the lines?
Inside the lines.
Yeah, I thought the anarchy symbol where it was an A with a circle, where the A extends outside the circle because anarchy is outside the constraints of society we live in. Or some
So
shit.
that is okay. So that is more of a modern conception. So the form of anarchy is very much been, in my opinion, I'm all right. I'm about to sound like fucking the Unabomber here. The left, the
Don't
big problem
worry,
with
I'm
the left
already
is,
apparently wanted for terrorism myself.
oh yeah, but the left is very much a massive like virtue-y, signal-y or group, and I think they love their symbol. You know, we love our symbolism, and uh, for me personally, I prescribe to a more long dead form of the Second International with syndicalism and everything like that. So it's definitely more of a organized anarchy instead of a, I guess, Makhnovicha kind of rural, no state whatsoever type of anarchy. I prefer a more like industrial workers united type of anarchy, if that makes sense. So it's anarchy, but it's still within its own bounds of understanding of what is within, I would say, the only type of contract, which is the contract between groups of people working together
The
to
social
survive.
contract.
Yeah, I didn't like to use that just because I know a lot of alt-right people, that's all they do is talk about, the social contract, and they use it at this point as a dog whistle, in my opinion.
Really? Because,
Yeah,
like, I'm of
it's
the opinion if you're not going to abide by the social contract, I don't need to be nice to you.
true. But like, I guess this is more because I came, like, my history is I had, like, I would say a very alt-right light kind of view. I was at one point right out of college, like an enlightened, or not an enlightened centrist, but I was kind of like a classical liberal. But I remember like a lot of your now infamous alt-right YouTubers or alt-right adjacent YouTubers would all be about the concept of the social contract. That's all they would talk about is, the left doesn't want to abide by the social contract and stuff like that. So at this point, to me, it comes off as a dog whistle. I don't think to the average person it would be, but I think if you come from like alt-right,
I think I know what you're meaning there. That a
yeah,
lot of reactionaries and right wingers will tend to say that like the left is hypocritical for saying you should be tolerant of our gender identities, but we're not going to be tolerant for your having a swastika in your profile.
exactly. And it comes off to me, just coming from that era, it just, whenever I hear it now, and like a lot of things that I've heard, it comes off to me a bit dog whistly. And I think if you weren't in that like early alt-right era kind of sphere, you probably either are still in the alt-right, or you kind of know what I'm, or you don't really know what I'm kind of getting on about. It's a weird feeling. Like a lot of like, I used to be a really big Sargon of Akkad fan years ago
Oh, I'm so
before.
sorry.
I know. It's
Back when the before all the atheists turned out to be um reactionaries.
yeah, like at this point, like the only two people I used to watch that I'm still subscribed to, well, outside Hannah and Jake, which obviously Hannah and Jake are pretty based. I don't really watch them as much as I used to though. Cult of Dusty, he's kind of stayed narrow and straight. He kind of disappeared because he kind of early on, because I think he was kind of anti-right compared to a lot of the other atheists. And then the Amazing Atheist at this point is just a fucking doomer.
I haven't
So
really kept up with anything from the Amazing Atheist. I've heard of him
he,
some. I know Jimmy Snow is still pretty cool. And yeah,
yeah,
Cirrus is still pretty pog.
yeah, there's still quite a few of them, but I would say like the biggest one who I would probably say is the Amazing Atheist. He definitely is a doomer. I've never seen such a doomer in my life. I don't think he's at this point just putting out like, what's the point of voting for Biden when he's the exact same as Trump? It's like,
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
yeah, it's like I'm getting to the point now where it's like there's a reason why Vosh will go on. There's a reason why I think Vosh will go on to Drunken Peasants, but he will not go on to like Deep Fat Fried and stuff like that because, one, I know Paul Zigo hates Vosh. And two, just because I think they would just have the dumbest political disagreement. They would agree on everything outside of vote blue no matter who. No, I see Tasha put, I hope it's just a phase. Doomerism can be at one sometimes. Amazing Atheist has been on this Doomer pipeline for, fuck, I don't know, 6-7 years now. I've been watching him for over a decade. He's been on it for a long time. Oh yeah, an H-Bomber guy too. But I don't think he was part of the new Atheist group.
Yeah, did H-Bomber guy put out, like, atheist content?
Yeah, but
Oh.
I wouldn't say comparable to like Amazing Atheist in them. I would just say he's kind of like H-Bomber guy. I would kind of compare like to the content of atheism, like of that of what Vosh does. So brings it up, but doesn't really make it their personality.
Yeah, like, in my opinion, Vosh does get into some of the, or he does have a lot of doomerism kind of things, but he's being a straight shooter in that point because he doesn't necessarily lie when there's something to be hopeful about or whatnot. It's just a lot of the stuff he covers is, you know, dark.
Yeah, it's to me Vosh. I mean, there's definitely a Doomer swing, but I don't think it's comparable to someone like the Amazing Atheist, who is just at this point, like, I'm at the point where I don't even want to be subscribed to him anymore, just because it is just the biggest Doomer pills I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like Vosh can be a bit of a doomer, but I don't think he's like doomer pilled at all.
Yeah. He's a doomer in rational context, but says we need to prevent this. He's not, oh, it's over, we need to give up. You know, we've lost. He's not that kind of person.
Yeah, he understands that the fight doesn't end.
Yeah, the fight never ends until the only way, in my opinion, it truly will end is when the nukes eventually go off. I just have a feeling one day.
Then it just starts all over again. Like,
No,
by that I
that's
mean the majority of civilization would be completely wiped out, and potentially there would still be like a handful of humans left. And then if humanity did continue, to survive and then grow and then get bigger and bigger, it would all just repeat again.
Exactly. But I mean, by that point, would we even have, the abilities to reindustrialize at that point? Since we've pretty much stripped the Earth of most of its natural resources for early industrialization.
Oh yeah.
So
I'd be setting humanity way far back and taking away a lot of the resources.
Oh yeah. It is 2:00. It is probably about time I need to go, sadly.
Alrighty, well, it has been a wonderful chat. Please shout yourself out again for the end of the video.
Oh, sure. Hi. So my name is Freyja. I am a member of Progressive Victory. If you want to chat with me about anything else, I am in Briley's Discord, and that's about it.
Alrighty. I'm not sure what you got for the rest of the day, but I hope it's a fun time for you.
I got a bunch to do today. So, all right. Well, you enjoyed the stream. I might pop in and out of the stream. So,
Okie dokie.
Right. Have a good
Take
one.
care.
Bye.
Bye. Good talk. Oh, Joe, you do Progressive Victory stuff too? Like, Freyja there, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're the representative of one of the states. Because, like, it's a small branch. Oh, you mostly do phone banking stuff? Nice. That's a very good thing to be doing. You need a lot more people to be doing it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more content, and if you want to join the community, feel free to check out the Discord. I love to voice chat in there, so if you want to ever talk, I'm usually available. Well, in the afternoons.